All right. It's over. The Utah Jazz fall to the Houston Rockets and end the Jazz season. This is at Hanson James. This is the SLC Dunk postgame show. Well, it's been a fun season, guys. I'm bummed that they lost. I thought it was an electric game from Donovan Mitchell. If you're going to lose like that. Put everything on the floor. Mitchell gave everything he had until he had to leave the game. There were some other nice things about the Jazz and some things that, if you're a Houston Rockets fan, you get a little nervous about. But luckily, if you're a Houston fan, they got rid of the Jazz because the Jazz started to figure some things out this game. But anyway, so what can you say? The Houston Rockets, they made the right move in the offseason. They brought in a guy, and he did what they needed him to do. Chris Paul won this game today. I know it was kind of revealed at the end of the game that James Harden was under the weather. Honestly, he looked a little gassed to me, so I don't know if that's under the weather, if it's out of shape, whatever it is. Hopefully, if you're a Rockets fan, it's under the weather because, my goodness, he could not stay in front of Donovan Mitchell in that third quarter. He was gassed, and you could see it in the second quarter. If you watch the second quarter again, he had hands on knees, and he was tired. But the Jazz could not handle Chris Paul, and the other was P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker won this game for the Houston Rockets. My goodness. P.J. Tucker scored 19 points, but was 5 for 7 from 3, 7 for 9 from the field. He was a plus 12. The only bigger plus minus was Chris Paul. P.J. Tucker and Chris Paul won this game. If Chris Paul doesn't have a big game tonight, the Jazz win this one because they were rolling. Rudy Gobert had his best game of the series, and the reason why I say the Rockets are a little lucky to get rid of the Jazz now because it looked like Rudy was kind of figuring Capella out, and today it showed. Tonight it really showed. Rudy was overcoming Capella kind of like he did with Steven Adams. It took him a while, but he was figuring it out, and Donovan Mitchell went off in the third quarter, 22 points in a quarter. He is ridiculous. But it wasn't enough to overcome Chris Paul and P.J. Tucker, who won the game. Chris Paul just was automatic. He was absolutely unstoppable, and he's a major reason they won Game 4 as well. Chris Paul, that offseason acquisition, got them to the Western Conference Finals. Sometimes that's just what it takes. You get that next piece, and you go to the next level, and that's what the Rockets did. Without Chris Paul, the Jazz probably win this series. Do the Rockets beat the Jazz in this series with the way Chris Paul hit shots? I mean, he scored 41 points tonight. They were all in the mid-range. It negated a lot of Gobert's effectiveness because although Gobert did a pretty good job, he would come out and guard Chris Paul, but Chris Paul was just all-star tonight. He was absolutely unstoppable, and it was his three-point shooting too. Just hard to beat. And then when P.J. Tucker's hitting 5 for 7 from 3, and it was at at one point he was like 5 for 5 or 4 for 4 or whatever it was. And we're not talking about hamburger deals. I'm sorry. But it was tough. So anyways, enough about the Rockets. The Jazz looked amazing this game. Royce O'Neal is turning out to be a revelation. Rudy Gobert finally was starting to kind of figure out how to go beyond just kind of handling Capella. He was actually impacting the game, was getting blocked shots in the lane. It's almost a shame the Jazz don't get to play like a 10-game series because I swear the Jazz would win the next few games from the things they figured out. But Donovan Mitchell got hurt. But what an amazing season for the Utah Jazz. Before this season started, I was at a barbecue. It was the 4th of July when you found out that Gordon Hayward was leaving. I remember just getting that initial tweet. I can't remember who it was who tweeted out like Gordon is going to Boston in the morning. And your heart just sunk. You just kind of felt like it was over. You were excited about Donovan Mitchell, because you thought he might be a nice player. You didn't realize he'd be like Allen Iverson in his rookie season. But you were excited to see the Jazz come back. They had just gone to the second round of the playoffs, beating Chris Paul and the Clippers at the time. But then Hayward leaves, and it just seemed like all was kind of lost for the Jazz. They go into the season. Mitchell came off the bench, and was a little erratic with his shot, partly because he was so just excited to play, and I'm sure he had a million, just tons of adrenaline and stuff that made it difficult for him to start. But then Donovan Mitchell clicked in, and the Jazz went on some win streaks that you never thought possible. But Rudy Gobert got hurt. Tabo got hurt. Dante Exum got hurt before the season started. It just felt like this season was going to be one long slog. But then it turned around. When Rudy Gobert came back, this season became one of the most magical seasons I can remember. And this is up there with Stockton and Malone. This was so much fun to have Donovan Mitchell, who embraced the city and embraced Utah and embraced a fan base that was heartbroken. They needed a hero, and Donovan Mitchell was there. Rudy Gobert came back better than ever and became the defensive player of the year, showed everyone why he is so dominant, and it took the Jazz to the playoffs in the 5 seed. Had they beaten the Portland Trailblazers in the last game, they'd have been the 3 seed, which is incredible. Just one of the most fun seasons ever. To have Ricky Rubio come over to the team, his incredible personality and him embracing the city and Quinn Snyder's system, and halfway through the year figuring it out, because the first half of the season he didn't quite get Quinn's system, but he did, and he worked, and he got his best three-point shooting percentage of his career. Absolutely just changed everything to be a better player and be a better player for the Utah Jazz. Like before this season, Rubio was averaging 9 or 10 assists a game. He came to the Jazz and sacrificed that so that the team would win, and now he was averaging more points and less assists and became a better player in a Jazz system. So Ricky Rubio has been a fantastic addition to this team, and it sucks that Rubio wasn't able to play in this series, because it would have been interesting to see how well the Jazz would have done with him. The series would have gone longer. I promise you the Jazz would have won tonight. That's for sure. So it's just frustrating. But you know what? It doesn't take away from the fact that this season was incredible. The Jazz literally were in the 5 seed. Not the 5 seed, the 5th spot in the lottery. They were the 5th worst team in the entire NBA after that Atlanta loss. And then turned it around to be the 5th seed in the playoffs. And so it's just been an incredible season for the Utah Jazz. The most fun I can remember. I mean, I've been watching and covering the Jazz. I mean, I've watched the Jazz since I was a kid, but covering the Jazz since like Ty Corbin era, and now to see this, and I was in the East Coast living in North Carolina and Ohio when the Deron Williams years were going on. And so since they don't play Jazz games out there very much, I didn't have as much of a connection to that team as I did to like the Stockton and Malone era and just growing up idolizing John Stockton. But this team is up there for me with Stockton and Malone years. It's been so much fun. And the thing that Jazz fans have to be excited about is that this is a beginning. This is not the end. This is the first chapter of a whole new book of Jazz basketball. This is the beginning of the Donovan Mitchell era. It's going to be the continuation of the Rudy Gobert era, because Rudy Gobert is a big part of this team. And then whoever is here. And then Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles is here for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's just a fun team that if the Jazz can see who can stay, see who can, help this team win and, make deep playoff runs. Anyways, Colton Davis, proud of our boys. Yes, me too. Brandon Whiteside, more AB. Yeah, AB had a great game tonight, and he had a good game the other game. Game 4 it was too. AB was surprising. Actually, there was a stretch at the beginning of the season. AB was really good. That 6-game win streak the Jazz went when Rudy Gobert went down and Derek Favors was the center. And remember the Jazz went on a 6-game win streak. AB was a big part of that. I know it was Mitchell's coming out party, but if you go look at the stats from that win streak, AB was having a big series. After that, he kind of fell off again. But he showed up again big in the playoffs, so super happy for AB. Anything you get out of AB is a positive. Bill Hedrick, next season going to be lit, just need to stay consistent. Absolutely. And Donovan Mitchell's going to get better. So that's exciting too. And Rubio is only going to get better this offseason. Yeah, Rubio, the Jazz will start next season with, and you never know who gets traded, who doesn't, whatever the Jazz. It's going to be a crazy offseason, but now Rubio and Mitchell have chemistry. They understand the system. It's going to be fun to watch. They're going to play better. Joseph Amanda, can't wait until next year. Yep, it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. Year 2, Donovan Mitchell understands the system. Going to work on his game in the offseason because Donovan Mitchell works his butt off. And the other thing about Donovan Mitchell is he's a film junkie. He's going to watch the film. He's going to get better. He's going to get a full offseason with Johnny Bryant, who's going to help him with his skills. Like, when Donovan Mitchell gets that pull-up 3, it's over. He's an MVP-level player because he can't be guarded. He's so fast. But if he has that pull-up 3 and it's falling with regularity, he's a 25 to 30-point-a-game scorer. He really is going to be so, so good. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to say, I guess this is our last Utah Jazz postgame show this season. Kind of sad. Kind of a bummer. But it's been so much fun to do this postgame show with you guys. I only missed 1 or 2, and that was over Christmas because I was in part of Utah and I didn't have access to an internet or a computer. I guess I could have done it on my phone, but I didn't because I didn't want to. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun, guys. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the interaction. The followers on Facebook, the readers on SLC Dunk, the subscribers on YouTube, the mentions on Twitter are fun. Except you douchebags say stupid things to me sometimes. But I like all the nice people. All the nice people are all my favorite. Stephen Lorscher watched most of the game from Afghanistan. Sad to see it end, but it was a great season. You bet. Jazz Nation all over the world watching the Jazz, cheering us on. It's incredible. I've had so much fun, guys. Hey, you know what? We're going to keep doing videos, though. We're going to keep doing Facebook Lives. I don't know how this show is going to evolve or what's going to happen, but it's going to because I like it. I like to say things. My wife gets tired of me talking to her about it, so I got to talk to you guys, right? And you guys got to like and subscribe this channel. You've got to follow and share and like on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, SLC Dunk. You've got to go to slcdunk.com and read all the articles. If you're not, what are you doing? You're not reading the best coverage of the Jazz. We don't pull punches. We throw them. We give you the best content. So, anyways, guys, virtual hug. Virtual hug. I guess I'm doing the alligator, but that's a virtual hug to you. Sad to see the season end. Really bummed. But I will talk to you next time.